going to talk about points, lines, and planes, 1.1. Point, line, and plane are undefined terms. They're undefined because if you had to describe a line to me, how would you describe a line? It's a straight line. You have to use the word to define the words. That's why they're called undefined. We're going to start with the word point. You'll find it at the top of your notes. What I want you to write down, a point has no dimension. So no dimension. I also want you to write that it looks like a dot. No dimension looks like a dot. No dimension looks like a dot. No dimension looks like a dot. So no dimension means it has no length and it has no width. It's just a dot. What I want you to do, we're going to learn how to name it. You're going to draw one. So maybe in the top right where there's like a blanker section, you can draw this point and then with a capital A. So find a spot maybe to draw it. And then there are two ways to name a point. So after you've drawn it, two ways to name a point. You can name it with the word point and a capital A. So you want to write that. So you've drawn a point with a capital A. Just draw it wherever you please. Yep, up here is fine. A point, just a point. A dot. Okay, so you can name it point A, point, capital A, or you can just use a capital A. So I would write that as well. Note those are point, capital A, or just a capital A. All right, we're going to do two truths and a lie. Can we call this picture, it's not on your notes, can we call this picture point L?
No.
Yes, I can. Can I call it dot L?
No.
No, because why in the world? No. And then could I call it capital L?
Yes.
Yes, I could. All right, a line. Here's what I want you to write down for a line. A line is one-dimensional. You can write, if you know, 3D means three-dimensional. So one-dimensional means, you can write 1D if you want, or one dimension, and then write what's in blue. A straight line with two arrowheads, and then it extends. To save you time, you could write infinitely instead of without end, same thing, in two directions. So it's one-dimensional, it's got a length, it's a straight line with two arrowheads, and extends infinitely in two directions. So one-dimensional, it's a straight line with two arrowheads, extends infinitely in two directions. All right, and then you've got this same picture that I do. There are two ways to name a line. Sarah will give you a second. These go with that, yeah. So two ways to name a line. If you notice, we've got three letters here. We've got an L, a capital A, and a capital B. Other than one is lowercase and one is uppercase, what are some differences between the A and the L? Which one? A has a point. So A is a point. Is L a point? No. L is actually the name of the line. So option 1, so you see two ways to name a line and then like a 1. You can say line L. You can either do like a cursive like it is, or you could do lowercase. You just can't do uppercase. So you can say line L, or you can use notation that looks like this, and you would use 2 points that are on the line. So name 2 points that are on this line. A, B. You can do it in reverse and say BA. It doesn't matter. So A, B, B, A. So even if it had more points, let's say it had C here, it doesn't matter. You still have to name it with 2 letters. And here's why. These arrows, what do they show you? What do they indicate? Is a line, yes. Direction. Infinitely in both directions, right? So even though if I named this AC, does it include point B? It does eventually, because this arrow means it's going to keep going and going and going. So AC, all right, could be an option. So we're going to talk about collinear and then do two truths and a lie. Co means together and linear means line. So these are points that are together on the same line. So collinear, it's a word on your page, points on the same line. Points on the same line. Points on the same line. So name two collinear points in our picture. A and B are collinear. All right, so I got this picture. We're going to go through and decide which one is correct and which one is not. So we have line VW. When we use the word line, what had to come after it? A what? A letter. How many letters? Just the one. And how did I find which one it was? It was a lowercase. So is line VW a way to name this line? It is not a way to name this line. You can only use a lowercase letter with the word line. What about line P? Yes, there's that lowercase letter, line P. What about line and a capital P? No. What does a capital P represent? A point. So, doubly no. It's got to be lowercase. VW. Yes. What about WV? Yes. What about V with the arrows above? No, because how many do you need under there? 2 points. And then what about P? No. Again, you need 2 points. P is not even a point. All right. The last thing we're going to talk about is a plane. So a plane is two-dimensional. It has a length and it has a width. So what are some things that have a length and a width? A what? A square, a rectangle. What are real squares and real rectangles in real life? Your desk is a plane. A box, the sides of a box are a plane. A football field, it's a plane. The floor is a plane. There are a lot of planes. They're two-dimensional. And then what you're going to write, it's a shape that looks like a table or a wall. So a shape that looks like a table or a wall. In geometry, technically, you have to think of it and imagine it as if the plane never ends, but yeah. All right, so you will mostly see it look like this, like a parallelogram in geometry. Sometimes it will be like a box, but it's two-dimensional. And so here are some examples. Again, this first one in green is the one you're going to see the most. But you're going to take your highlighter. We're going to highlight some planes of this table. What part of the table is a plane? The top is a plane. So in one color, you can highlight the top. All right. And then there are other parts that are planes. This side, yes. But each part of the leg would be a plane, and I'll show you. So if you look at my podium, it's a weird shape. But the top is its own plane. This side is its own plane. This side is its own plane. But when you look at, like down here, like a leg of a table, each side, this would be a plane, this side would be a plane, this side would be a plane. So how many planes are there on each leg? 4. So there's a ton more that we could highlight, but we do not want, a rainbow on our page. How many planes can we see on this birthday cake? We can see 3 of them. We can see them. So we can see what part of this is a plane. The top, right? And then we can see 2 sides, right? So that's where the other 2 planes are. So this side is a plane. And then this side over here is also a plane. So 1, 2, 3. So when you look at your sandwich when you go to eat lunch, that's also a plane. All right, coplanar, similar to collinear. Coplanar means points on the same plane. Points on the same plane. We are almost finished with the notes today. Points on the same plane. We'll just talk about how to name a plane, and then we practice it. All right, so you have this picture of a plane. What is the difference, other than on mine, we've got a red letter and a black letter. What is the difference between these two?
The red one doesn't have a dot.
The red letter doesn't have a dot, so that means it's not a point. So think back to when you found like a lowercase letter on a line. What do you think this uppercase not point? What do you think that is? That's the name of the plane. So what you're going to do, if I just said capital M, this would not name a plane. This would name a point. In order to name a plane, you have to write the word plane. So option 1 to name this plane is plane, and then that capital M. Plane and capital M. The second way to name the plane, you still say plane. And then I'm going to write under, because I'm going to put 3 letters here. You don't have to draw the lines. I'm just drawing them so you can understand how we pick which ones. So these 3 points, they're 3 non-collinear points. 3 non-collinear points. So we're going to say plane and pick 3 points. What does collinear mean? On the same line. So non-collinear means points that are not on the same line. We don't have any lines here right now, so it's not a big deal. We can just pick 3 points. What are 3 points on this plane? A, B, C. And it does not matter what order you write them in. Again, this line is not necessary. I just wrote it there so you'd understand. I'm filling in the blank. I could say plane A, B, C, B, A, C, C, A, B. I would not use M, and why would I not use M? It's not a point, okay? Yeah, let's practice. And then always write the word plane. And then I would highlight it, because people forget it, and then they're not naming it correctly. I need a hole punched paper for the next part. Can I use your syllabus really quick? I'm gonna show you. I'll come back for it. 2 truths and a lie, or there's gonna be a lot of them. So you've got this picture. It looks more complicated than what we just did. That's why we're gonna do it together. And then this will work. All right. So what you've got, this plane, this flat piece. I want you to think of a piece of a paper. Okay. So on this paper, we've got dots. Right, points. And then we also have these lines. I'm going to use my pen to represent the line. Okay? So this one is sitting on the plane like this. That's it. This one looks different. Why does it look different than the other? It has like a dotted line right here. And I'll show you why. Can anybody guess what this line is doing different than the other one? It's Look at you, you're so smart. It is intersecting. It's going through the piece of paper. So what it shows is I got a piece of paper and I got a pen, and I'm going to put the pen through. Can you see the whole pen? No. You can probably see the top, maybe some of the bottom, but there's a part that's missing. It's still there, right? Where is it located? It's behind the paper, right? It's under the paper. That's all this dotted line means. This line goes through the plane, but it's behind like the piece of paper. Okay? So, that being said, is X on the plane? No. So do you think we could use X to name the plane if it is not on the plane? No. So keep that in mind. So let's go through the list. EBU. Can I name a plane just EBU? No, why not?
Because it's not on. No, it has to have the word. It's not.
It has to have the word plane. So EBU they're not in a straight line. So remember how we said 3 non-collinear. So let's pause and talk about that. 3 non-collinear. Collinear means on the same line. What are 3 points that are collinear?
U, B, and H.
U, B, and H. Here's what we could not name this plane because they are collinear and we want non-collinear. We could not call this plane U, B, H because they are on the same line. So this is the only not an option. Do you understand? We can use combinations of it. So when it says plane E, B, U, so let me erase one. E, B, U, are these 3 on the same line? No. So we're good to use this one. Plane L. Is L the name of this plane?
Yes. No.
Yes.
No, the S.
What is it the name of? It's the name of this line. So it is not the name of the plane. And whenever you name a plane with 1 letter, it should be a capital letter. And she is right. This is printed weird, or I guess saved weird. Can anybody see the capital letter that's not a point? It's S. It's not supposed to be out here. It's supposed to be right here. But you are correct. This will end up being the name of the plane. And L is the name of this line. All right, plane EBH. So we've got EBH. They're all on the plane. They're not collinear. So this one is good. EBL. No, why not? Yeah, L is not a point. It's the name of a line. So this one would not work. I can catch up. All right, UBX. No, why not? X is not on the plane. Plane S. Yes. So again, when I hit next, it doesn't save. The S is supposed to be inside and not on the outside like that. Okay, so plane S would be a yes, and then plane SBH. No. Are all three of them points? No. Which one's not a point? S. Okay? S isn't a point. All right, so you can name it with three non-collinear points, or you could say plane with a capital letter. This is the last thing we do before whiteboards. So on the second page at the top, I'm going to draw a line down the middle because each of them ask me to do two things. So if you want to do that, I don't know if you have a ton of room. You got some room. This first one, we're going to give two other names for PQ, line PQ. I am going to highlight it. If you want to highlight it so you know which one we're talking about, you can. We're going to rename line PQ. There are two ways to name a line. I could say the word line. If I said the word line, what comes after? How many letters come after the word line? One. And which one letter would it be?
N.
And the lowercase. So you would say line and then that lowercase letter. Line N. That's the only option with the word line. When it comes to naming it again, you will name it similarly to the way it was named. You want to name it with the arrows above and then 2 points. What are the only 2 points on this line? Well, P and Q. Remember, we're doing the highlighted line. P and Q are the only points on that line. So we already said PQ. So how can I rename it? QP. Sometimes it is that simple. All right, now we're going to name the plane. When you name a plane, what do you always have to write first? Plane. Plane. And then let's talk about which letters we can't use. So they already said plane R. Is R a point? No, it's the name of the plane. They already used it. It's not a point, so I can't use it in a combination with something else. What other letters can I not use?
M.
I can't use M because what is M?
Lowercase.
It is lowercase, which means it is the name of the line. So I can't use that to name the plane. What else can I not use to name the plane? I can't use Q. Why can't I use Q? Not on the plane. And then the last letter I can't use is N because, again, it's the name of that red line. All right, so I can use any combination of how many points? 3 points. Except for what combination can I absolutely not use? SPT. We cannot use, and if you want to write it so you remember, we cannot use SPT, and why can we not use those three together? They're on the same line. But I can use a variation of it. So let's name 3 points that are on the plane. I've already kind of X'd out which ones we can't use. We need 3 points that are not SPT.
SVT.
SVT, plane,
TVS.
sure. TVS, plane, PVS, plane, PTV, plane, VSP, yeah. Any 3 except for SPT. All right, and then the next section, we're just listing some points. Right, so name 3 points that are collinear. What does collinear mean? On the same line. So when you list something, so think about English for a second. If you listed your favorite restaurants, what would you put in between each restaurant? A comma, right? So when we list points, you put a comma between them, okay? So what 3 points are on the same line? S, comma, P, comma, T. That's it. And then The reason that students might get this wrong on a test is because they don't read the second half. There is a second half of this question that says name 4 points that are coplanar. What does coplanar mean?
On the same plane.
On the same plane. So which points are on the same plane? PS, V, T. Could I use R?
No.
It's not a point. Could I use M?
No.
Not a point. Q is not on the plane. And then N, of course, not a point. Just notice the difference between naming a plane and listing points. Some people will try to put commas up here when you name a plane. You don't put any commas because you're naming the plane. When you're listing something, just like in regular life, I like on my cheeseburger cheese and ketchup and mayo and pickles, and I put commas between when I list things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. So we're going to use whiteboard markers and whiteboards. If you have a whiteboard marker, wonderful. Take it out. There should be a variety of erasers around. You might have to share with someone around you. It's not our bell. We get out, I think, in 15 minutes, 11:40. That's what you normally do. I don't know, 11?
We get out at 35.
So we got, can I get my, just grab. Anybody need a marker? There's a marker behind you. There's a marker right there. And then there's a marker right there as well. Micah, there's one right in the middle. There's a marker right there. They're already out and about. There's one right there.
I need a marker.
There's one on your desk. Micah, did you not grab one? Someone gave you one? Okay. So she's going to use it. Or are you going to use it? All right, wonderful. Ready? You have an eraser. Can you clear it off? I have that. All right. When do you have to have your supplies by?
Monday.
It's Tuesday. But if you have Monday, I'm not mad about it. All right, you ready? On Tuesday. Yep. All right, you're going to name the plane in 2 ways. Name the plane in 2 ways. Name the plane in 2 ways. Mike, your last name is George, right? Something like that. Connor is an O or an E? Correctly spelled. All right, and then Matthew. What is your last name? What is it?
Kramer.
So C.
Yes, ma'am.
It was you 4 that said you were going to use this, Coach Willis. All right, you ready? You show me your answer whenever you got it. Good. 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 So you don't put commas between them, remember? You gotta use capital letters.
Yes, ma'am.
Not quite. This is the one you can't get. The DEF. Good. Good. We're naming planes. The second one's good. Yep. Okay, you 4 are good. Yeah. You don't have to have the line under it. I was just showing you. We're filling in the blank. That is one way to do it. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's better. Ooh, you're right. So small.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it. I think yours is correct. All right, ready? What letters can we? Let's start with this. If I want to name this plane with 1 letter, what letter would that be?
M.
Plane M. Is it a point?
No.
No, so I can't use it in the next part, right? I need to use 3 non-collinear points. What is the one thing I absolutely cannot name this plane? Plane D, E, F. Those are collinear. We can't use those. What other letters can I not use? J. Why can't I use J? It's name of a line. It's lowercase. What else can I not use? You have to use A. Okay. Yeah, you can't use K. You can't use C. Why can't you use C? It's not on the plane. And then what other letter can you not use? B. You can't use that. So any combination of these four remaining, as long as it's not D, E, F. So A, D, E, A, E, F, F, A, D, anything like that. All right, next one. Draw a line. Draw QR. Don't overthink it. You're just drawing QR.
This marker is like
You can throw it away. Correct. 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 They might look different. No, yes. 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 Yeah, you need some dots in your life. Yeah, that's correct. So you should draw a line with arrows, right? Line, arrows, a Q, and an R. All right? Next thing, name the highlighted line in two ways. Name the highlighted line in two ways. Two ways.
Oh.
Is that one my marker?
Yes.
There's a black one. So, definitely not. But then this one,
Oh.
we want to keep it.
Look.
Good. Good. Yes. 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 Try other markers. We're not naming it like name. No, you name segment. This is online, but it sends infinitely in both directions. So if I use the word line, what will come after it? What does the next thing look like? A lowercase. So when I name this line, what is the only lowercase that is, signifying that line? B, right? So you would say line B. After that, you don't use the word line. There's no other way to use it. You need to use notation. And how many points fit under this? 2 points. It does not matter which two on this line. You could say YW, WZ, YZ. It does not matter. You could always flip them. I was going to say something. What was I going to say to you? Oh, here. Let's refresh for a second. When you name a point, how many points do you use to name a point? You need to use 1 point to name a point. When you name a line, how many points do you use to name a line? 2. When you name a plane, how many points do you use to name a plane? How many points? 3 points. So, point, line, plane, 1, 2, 3. We all see it? Point, line, plane, 1, 2, 3. All right, I want to see you draw a line L. Don't overthink it. Correct. Wonderful. Beautiful. Yes. Good. Just make sure it stays lowercase. I don't know if that's good.
Do we have to draw in like cursive?
No, but just make sure L's are difficult because if you give it a little, oops, sorry. If you try to write it like this, it looks like a capital. You know what I mean? Or it just looks like a line. It's weird. Correct. Good. 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 You can have points on it if you like. It just needs to have a line and then an L. All right. Name the plane. Sorry, I went to look here to see the letters, but that's not correct. Not quite. Correct. Correct. Where'd you get the letter R?
Oh, sorry, that's a P.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I don't know what yours said. Yours was good. Yours was good. Good, 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 good. Good. Both are correct. Good. So most of you named it with one letter. If you say plane in one letter, what letter are you going to use?
P.
Plane, P. If you use 3 letters, which one can you not use? You can't use P. It's not a point. So JKL. There's no lines here, so there's not really any other variation. We'll do, that's it. We'll be done. Wonderful.